Ladies, let's talk about the power you already have, but might not be using if you want to control a man's heart. You don't need to chase him, you don't need to beg for attention. You need to know the secrets, the kind that build emotional gravity so strong. He doesn't want to escape it, men are naturally wired to pursue. It's in their DNA to be intrigued, to solve problems, to uncover what's hidden. When a woman reveals every thought, every emotion, every plan too early, she unintentionally removes the element of curiosity, and curiosity is what fuels desire. The moment he feels like he knows everything about you, the chase is over, not because he doesn't care, but because the mystery that kept him engaged has faded. Being emotionally mysterious doesn't mean being cold or unavailable. It means you choose what to share and when. You don't need to give someone your whole heart on the first date, or even the fifth. When you pace the connection, revealing layers of yourself slowly, you allow a man to explore your depth over time. That journey keeps him emotionally invested. He starts to value every part of you that he discovers, because it wasn't handed over easily. Mystery builds emotional intensity. When he can't predict your next move, when your conversations leave him thinking long after you've walked away, you become more than just a person. You become an experience, and people don't forget experiences. If you're always accessible, always explaining, always available, you become familiar. Familiarity kills attraction when it's not balanced with intrigue. It's not about playing games, it's about being selective with your emotional energy. Every time you give a man a glimpse into your mind or heart, it should feel like a privilege, not a guarantee. When you maintain some emotional privacy, when you let him earn his way into your world, you send a clear message: I value myself too much to be an open book for just anyone. Men are visual creatures, yes, but emotional engagement is what creates obsession. When he starts wondering why you didn't text back immediately, or what you're doing with your day, or why you seemed a little more quiet and introspective this time, he's not just interested. He's emotionally hooked. It triggers a psychological pull. I want to know more about her. You don't need to share every detail of your past or explain every mood. Sometimes silence speaks louder than words. If you're upset, you don't need to overexpress it. If you're in love, you don't need to scream it from the rooftops. Your silence, your self-restraint, your soft withdrawal. Those things can spark more awareness and concern in a man than an emotional outburst ever could. When a man senses that you have a world beyond him, a full, rich, independent inner life, he respects you more. He stops assuming and starts asking. He stops taking and starts earning. Emotional mystery tells him, you don't fully have me yet, and you may never. That's powerful. That keeps him trying. You don't need to be distant. You need to be undeniably present but slightly out of reach. Emotionally engaged, yet not emotionally dependent. You must be a story he's constantly unfolding, a song he can't stop replaying, a mystery he can't stop solving. Because when a man feels like there's more to discover in you, he'll never stop coming closer. Respect begins with how you treat yourself. If you constantly silence your opinions to avoid conflict, laugh off your pain to stay likable, or agree with things you don't believe in just to keep the peace, you're teaching him that your voice isn't valuable. You're sending a silent message that his comfort matters more than your truth, and over time that pattern erodes your self-worth and the foundation of the relationship. Your voice is your power. It's the way you express your truth, your boundaries, your values. And the moment you decide that what you feel, think, and believe matters, even if it's not popular, even if it's not what he wants to hear, you begin commanding a level of respect that cannot be faked. A man may be attracted to your body, but it's your voice and your standards that will make him stay, or make him level up. Never shrink yourself to fit into a version of the woman you think he wants. If you're always agreeable, always cool, always accommodating, he won't see you as strong. He'll see you as safe, and safety without strength isn't attractive to a high-value man. What keeps a man engaged long-term is a woman who challenges him to grow, who speaks truthfully, and who doesn't hesitate to call out what doesn't feel right. But here's the thing, you don't have to be loud to be powerful. A quiet woman who speaks with certainty and calm confidence will be heard more than someone who's shouting to be seen. Respect isn't about volume, it's about conviction. When you say no, let it mean no. When you say, I'm not okay with that, say it with clarity, not apology. Let your words carry weight. Men test boundaries, consciously or unconsciously. It's not always malicious. It's human behavior. If you let something slide once and again, you're teaching him how to treat you. But when you respond the first time, with grace and firmness, he learns that your boundaries are not up for debate. And once he sees that you honor yourself, he begins to honor you too. Your voice is not just for arguments or moments of pain. Use it to express your dreams, your expectations, your standards for love, loyalty, and leadership. Let him know what kind of man you need, not in a demanding way, but in a way that's clear and unwavering. When you speak from your truth, the right man won't feel threatened. He'll feel challenged to meet you there. Don't let silence become your default mode. When you stop speaking up, resentment grows. You begin to feel unseen, unheard, and unloved, not because he doesn't care, but because he no longer hears the woman you used to be. Your voice keeps you connected to your identity, and when you lose it, you slowly start to lose yourself in the relationship. The man who is meant for you will not be scared of your strength. He won't flinch when you speak your truth. He'll respect it, even if it makes him uncomfortable, because he knows that a woman who respects herself is a woman worth protecting, pursuing, and staying loyal to. And once you've taught him that your voice is sacred, he'll listen, not because he's afraid of losing you, but because he values not losing your respect. Every man, no matter how strong or confident he appears, is looking for peace. The world expects him to perform, provide, protect, and stay composed. Pressure follows him in every environment: work, society, family, even his own mind. When he comes to you, he's not looking for another battlefield. He's looking for shelter, a soft place to land, a calm within the chaos. Being his peace doesn't mean you have to tolerate everything. It doesn't mean suppressing your feelings or letting disrespect slide. It means choosing emotional maturity. It's the ability to express yourself without escalating. It's staying grounded when things get tense. It's saying, let's talk. Instead of yelling, you never listen. A peaceful woman isn't passive. She's powerful because she's in control of herself. Pressure kills connection. Constant complaining, criticizing, or trying to fix him only pushes him away. A man grows where he feels supported, not where he feels judged. When your energy is always tense or demanding, he won't feel safe to be vulnerable. And without vulnerability, love becomes a transaction instead of a transformation. Your peace doesn't come from pretending to be okay. It comes from being okay, with or without him. It's built on your self-respect, your clarity, and your trust in your own value. When you're emotionally balanced, you don't need to argue over every issue. You know how to step back, breathe, and come back to the conversation with calm authority. The feminine power lies in softness, not weakness, but softness. It's your ability to soothe his mind, not by fixing his problems, but by believing in him. A gentle touch, an affirming word, your silent presence. Those things can heal a man in ways the world never could. Sometimes just being next to someone who believes in you is enough to recharge your entire soul. But peace is not one-sided. Don't become his emotional blanket while neglecting your own needs. You can be his peace and still demand reciprocity. You can hold space for his emotions while expecting emotional safety in return. Peaceful doesn't mean self-sacrificing. It means emotionally wise. You don't absorb his chaos. You influence it with calmness. A peaceful woman knows when to speak and when to stay silent. She doesn't need to win every argument. She doesn't take everything personally. She chooses her battles, and when she speaks, her words carry weight because they're not thrown out carelessly. Her emotional discipline creates a safe atmosphere where both people can grow, not just survive. When a man feels peace in your presence, he becomes addicted to it, not because you're perfect, but because you make him feel safe in a way the world never has. You become his calm, his clarity, his comfort zone, not by fixing him, but by holding your own energy steady, and once he experiences that, he won't want to lose it. Words are easy, promises are even easier. Men, just like women, can get swept up in the moment and say things they don't necessarily mean or can't immediately act on. But actions are where the truth lies. If you want to know how much someone values you, don't listen to what they say. Watch what they do. A man's effort will always speak louder than his promises. And as a woman, you hold the power to determine whether you're going to accept words or demand proof. When you mirror his effort, you're setting a boundary. You're teaching him that love, respect, and time are earned, not given. If he's truly interested, he will show it through consistent actions, not empty words. If he says he's too busy to make time for you, but then you notice he's got time for everything else, don't ignore the contradiction. You deserve more than promises, you deserve effort, and effort isn't something you have to beg for. It's something he should naturally want to give when he values you. This doesn't mean you play games or keep score. It means you stop over-investing in a man who hasn't shown he deserves it. If you're constantly the one making the first move, initiating plans, or fixing problems, you're likely putting in more emotional labor than he is. You don't need to give more energy to a situation than he does. You should reflect his level of engagement, and only when it matches yours should you mirror it back with equal energy. What this does is create balance. If you're always the one reaching out, always the one giving in, always the one making sacrifices, you'll eventually feel drained and unappreciated. The relationship becomes a one-sided investment where you're giving more than you're receiving. And eventually, this leads to resentment. But when you mirror his efforts, you allow him to match your energy, making the relationship healthier, more reciprocal, and more fulfilling. It's important to note that mirroring his effort doesn't mean you're a passive participant in the relationship. It means you're holding yourself and him to a standard of mutual respect. You're saying, if you value me, show me. When you see him making consistent effort, you can respond with warmth and appreciation. But when you see he's only offering empty words or sporadic actions, you can step back and decide to reassess your involvement. By mirroring his effort, you're also teaching him the importance of giving in a relationship. It's easy to get caught up in expectations and to believe that love will just happen on its own. But true love requires work, attention, and care from both parties. You're showing him that effort isn't a one-way street. It's a dance that both partners need to participate in for the relationship to thrive. When you mirror his effort, you send the message that mutual investment is not negotiable. A man who's truly invested in you will notice the shift in your energy when you start mirroring his efforts. If he's serious about building something with you, he'll want to meet you halfway. He'll begin to step up his game to show you he's worthy of your time and attention. And when he sees that your love and affection come with conditions, meaning that you're only willing to invest when he does too, he will respect you more. He'll understand that you're not someone to be taken for granted. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that love means giving everything all the time, but that's a surefire way to burnout. Mirroring his efforts isn't about withholding love, it's about protecting your emotional energy and ensuring that it's not being depleted by someone who isn't as committed to the relationship as you are. Only when he starts mirroring your effort will the relationship evolve into something deep and meaningful, where both partners are equally invested. Every man has an innate desire to feel needed. It's not about being needy or dependent. It's about activating his sense of purpose, of significance, and of being someone who can make a difference in your life. This is what many refer to as a man's hero instinct. It's the part of him that feels fulfilled and deeply connected when he's in a position to protect, provide, and support. And as a woman, you have the power to activate this part of him by allowing him to feel like he's adding value to your world. The hero instinct isn't about being helpless. It's about being strong enough to ask for help when you need it. When you let a man help you, not because you can't do it on your own, but because you value his help, it taps into his deepest instincts. Men love to feel that they are making a difference, that they are being relied upon, and that their presence brings something positive into the life of the woman they care about. This is not weakness. It's strength in knowing what you bring to the table and recognizing that a strong partnership involves both giving and receiving. When you activate his hero instinct, you allow him to step up in ways he may not have thought possible. Asking for his help isn't about taking away your independence or making him feel burdened. It's about recognizing his strengths and giving him an opportunity to show them to you. It's an invitation to him to be the man you need without diminishing your own power. It's about creating a space where both partners feel valued, important, and irreplaceable. A woman who can ask for help without being demanding or overburdening taps into the deepest parts of a man's nature. He starts to feel like the protector, the provider, the one who has the ability to solve problems. When you ask him to help with something that matters to you, something important, he feels a sense of accomplishment, a rush of pride. This pride in his role in your life deepens his emotional connection to you because it gives him a sense of purpose within your relationship. However, it's crucial not to overdo it or become overly dependent. You are not trying to make him feel like your savior for every little thing. The key is balance. Men are drawn to women who are strong and self-sufficient, but who also allow them to show up in ways that matter. Let him feel needed, but never let it cross the line into dependency. There's a fine line between allowing a man to step in and always relying on him to do so. This balance creates a healthy dynamic where he feels like he's fulfilling his role without becoming burdened. Additionally, activating his hero instinct is not about playing the damsel in distress. It's not about making yourself weak so that he can be strong. It's about making him feel like the man who chooses to be strong for you, because he wants to be, because you inspire him to do so. When you show confidence in your own abilities, but also demonstrate vulnerability in the right moments, it encourages him to rise up and meet you at your level, pushing him to become the best version of himself in the process. When you lean into your feminine energy and let him be the man who wants to care for you, protect you, and make life easier for you, something magical happens. He feels valued and respected, not because you're helpless, but because you trust him with a part of your world. This trust activates a protective, nurturing side in him that he's not always aware of. It's the part of him that will fight to keep you close, to keep you happy, and to be the partner you deserve. The beauty of activating a man's hero instinct is that it draws him closer in ways nothing else can. It taps into a part of him that wants to be the best for you, not because he feels obligated, but because he truly wants to. When a man feels like your hero, he is more likely to be faithful, more likely to invest emotionally, and more likely to commit. This is the power you have as a woman, to activate his deepest, most primal instincts for the betterment of your relationship, all while staying true to who you are. In a world full of constant chatter, messages, and notifications, it's easy to feel like you need to keep talking to stay relevant, to stay remembered, but the truth is, silence has a power that words often cannot capture. When you learn to be unforgettable, even in silence, you begin to command attention and respect without uttering a single word. This is about creating a presence, a lasting impression, and leaving an emotional impact that lingers long after you've walked away. The key to being unforgettable is not about dominating every conversation or constantly needing to fill the air with noise. It's about knowing when to speak and when to step back. Silence can create space for deeper connection. It allows your presence to be felt without your needing to force it. In moments of quiet, you can express more through your energy, your gaze, and your demeanor than you could through 1,000 words. People remember how you made them feel, not just what you said. Being unforgettable in silence also speaks to the power of emotional mystery. When you don't over-explain yourself, when you don't overshare, people are left wanting to know more. The less you reveal about your inner world, the more curious they become. This curiosity builds a magnetic pull. They'll wonder about your thoughts, your dreams, your desires, things they haven't heard you say out loud yet. This sense of mystery is what makes you unforgettable. Moreover, silence allows you to remain grounded. In the midst of chaos or emotional turbulence, being able to stay composed and peaceful while others react can make a powerful impression. People are drawn to those who remain steady and poised, even in uncertain moments. It's in those quiet moments that your true strength shines through. Your calmness doesn't just reflect inner peace, it signals emotional maturity and confidence, both of which make you incredibly memorable. There is also an elegance to being someone who doesn't need to dominate the conversation. When you speak, your words are measured, thoughtful, and intentional. And when you choose to remain silent, it's clear you are comfortable with your own space, comfortable being in your own company, and comfortable with the present moment. This creates an aura of mystery, confidence, and depth that keeps people intrigued and wanting more of your energy. Sometimes, silence is the most powerful statement you can make. When someone expects a reaction from you, whether it's in an argument, a heated discussion, or a misunderstanding, choosing silence can disarm them. Instead of fueling the fire with words that might escalate the situation, you offer something more profound, your unwavering presence. Silence in these moments doesn't mean weakness or fear. It means emotional control and strength, which is far more impactful than a hasty response. People are also drawn to those who don't feel the need to explain or justify their every action. When you stand in your truth without needing to over-explain yourself, you communicate that you know who you are, and you're not seeking approval from anyone. This authenticity, coupled with your silence, creates an unforgettable aura of selfish assurance. It's this air of self-reliance and confidence that makes you so memorable, because you don't need validation to feel whole. Being unforgettable in silence also means being selective in the moments you choose to speak up. When you do speak, your words hold weight. Your silence acts as a backdrop to your verbal expressions, amplifying their importance. People remember the moments when you spoke with intention and when you remained silent with purpose. This balance between speaking and listening, between action and stillness, creates a rhythm that draws people toward you and keeps them engaged long after you've left the room. There is an undeniable power that comes with being a woman, and it's rooted in the essence of your feminine energy. Feminine energy is magnetic. It's the quiet confidence, the gentle strength, the emotional depth, and the nurturing care that naturally draw people in, especially men. This energy is not something you have to do or force into existence. It's an inherent part of who you are. It's about being in touch with your natural rhythms, intuition, and emotional wisdom, all of which radiate a magnetism that no man can resist. Feminine energy is all about flow. It's about moving through life with grace, not trying to control everything but allowing things to unfold as they will. It's the art of surrender, letting go of the need to push, force, or make things happen. When you can flow through life with ease, it creates an aura of calmness and relaxation that others find incredibly attractive. Men are naturally drawn to this energy because it represents something they want in their lives: peace, balance, and freedom from the relentless pressures of the world. At the core of feminine energy is nurturing, a deep sense of caring and warmth that attracts people to you. It's the ability to create an environment where others feel safe, supported, and valued. Men often seek this kind of energy in a partner, not because they are weak, but because they crave emotional security and comfort. When you embrace your nurturing side, whether through small gestures, words of encouragement, or acts of kindness, you radiate an energy that makes men feel at ease and cherished. But femininity is not about being weak or passive. It's about owning your power in a subtle yet potent way. The true strength of feminine energy lies in the ability to influence without force, to inspire without dominance, and to love without attachment. It's about standing firm in your boundaries, expressing your needs without apology, and maintaining your sense of self, all while being open and compassionate. A woman who embodies this kind of strength becomes irresistible because she doesn't rely on manipulation or control. She relies on her natural ability to inspire respect and admiration. Your feminine energy also makes you an incredible listener. Women, by nature, are more attuned to emotions and can empathize deeply with others. When you are fully present and attentive, men feel heard and understood, something that is deeply fulfilling for them. In a world where men often feel they have to be strong and composed, finding someone who can listen to them without judgment creates an emotional bond that's difficult to break. This energy of empathy and understanding forms the foundation of a connection that goes beyond physical attraction. Feminine energy is intuitive. It's the deep, almost unexplainable knowing that arises within you, guiding you through life. Men find this intuition captivating because it speaks to a wisdom that isn't always logical, but is always right. When you trust your instincts, not only do you navigate life with more ease, but you also create an aura of mystery and intrigue. Men are often fascinated by women who can read the room, understand the unspoken, and make decisions that seem to be guided by something greater than the obvious. Another key aspect of feminine energy is vulnerability. Society often teaches women to hide their emotions, to appear strong at all times. But the truth is, there is immense power in vulnerability. When you allow yourself to be open, authentic, and raw, you invite connection. Men are drawn to this authenticity because it gives them permission to drop their guard too. It's through vulnerability that emotional intimacy is formed, and this intimacy creates an unbreakable bond. When a man sees you embrace your vulnerability, it makes you more relatable, more real, and undeniably irresistible. Feminine energy is also deeply sensual. It's not just about physical attraction. It's about being in tune with your senses, appreciating the beauty around you, and exuding a soft, inviting energy that captivates. The way you move, the way you speak, the way you carry yourself, it all communicates an irresistible energy. It's about owning your sensuality and not being afraid to express it in subtle, alluring ways. Men are naturally drawn to this because it awakens a part of them that wants to protect and cherish what feels rare and precious. Lastly, feminine energy is empowering to both yourself and others. When you embrace this energy, you don't need to compete or compare yourself to anyone. You understand that your worth isn't determined by external validation, but by your inner confidence and self-love. This self-assuredness is what makes your feminine energy so magnetic. It's not about being perfect. It's about owning who you are, embracing your flaws, and exuding a natural charm that draws people in, especially men who are looking for a partner who knows her worth. In relationships, the idea of trying to control the other person is a trap that many fall into. It's easy to think that if you could just get him to behave a certain way, say the right things, or act the way you want him to, everything would be perfect. But true connection doesn't come from trying to control or manipulate someone. It comes from creating a vibe, a space, an energy that fosters understanding, trust, and harmony. When you control the vibe, you set the tone for the relationship to flourish without trying to change who he is. Controlling the vibe means owning your emotional space. It's about being the anchor in the relationship, the person who remains calm, collected, and balanced, no matter what the circumstances. When you control the vibe, you don't allow negativity or conflict to take over the dynamic. Instead, you lead with positivity, kindness, and understanding. You create an atmosphere where love, respect, and connection can thrive. A strong, positive vibe will naturally influence the energy around you, including his, without you having to force any change. It's important to understand that controlling the vibe is not about being passive or suppressing your emotions. It's about being intentional with how you respond to situations. Instead of reacting in frustration or anger when things don't go your way, you choose to maintain a calm and loving presence. When you control the vibe, you set the pace for how you both interact, ensuring that the energy in the relationship remains uplifting and supportive. Creating a positive vibe also involves setting boundaries. A healthy vibe isn't just about being positive all the time. It's about knowing your worth and being unapologetic in maintaining your personal boundaries. This could mean saying no when something doesn't feel right, standing up for yourself when necessary, or protecting your peace from outside stressors. When you set these boundaries with grace and respect, you create a space where both of you can thrive without either person feeling drained or overwhelmed. Another key element in controlling the vibe is maintaining your own inner peace. When you are at peace with yourself, you're able to create a calm, inviting space that allows him to feel safe and supported. This doesn't mean being perfect or having everything figured out, but it means learning to be grounded in who you are, trusting your own instincts, and not being easily shaken by external circumstances. Your peace becomes contagious, allowing him to feel the same sense of calm when he's with you. Control the vibe by being aware of your energy. When you walk into a room, your energy precedes you. It's not just your words or actions, it's the emotional atmosphere you bring. Are you bringing warmth, positivity, and openness, or are you bringing stress, frustration, and negativity? People, especially men, are highly sensitive to the emotional energy of others. When you maintain a positive, calm, and grounded presence, it encourages him to match that energy, creating a harmonious dynamic that doesn't require you to force anything. When you control the vibe, you don't feel the need to change him. Instead, you allow him to be who he is, understanding that true connection happens when both people feel free to be themselves. Rather than trying to fix him or make him behave in certain ways, you focus on nurturing an environment where he feels accepted and valued. This acceptance encourages him to show up as his best self because he knows he doesn't have to pretend or change to earn your love or approval. Control the vibe by practicing emotional intelligence. This means knowing when to speak and when to remain silent, understanding the underlying emotions in any situation, and responding with empathy and care. Emotional intelligence is about tuning into the needs of the relationship and adapting your approach to bring out the best in both of you. When you can control the vibe in this way, you create a space where emotional connection becomes deeper and more fulfilling. Lastly, controlling the vibe is about leading by example. It's not about telling him what to do or how to feel, but about embodying the qualities you want to see in the relationship. When you bring warmth, patience, understanding, and emotional maturity, you inspire him to bring those same qualities into the dynamic. You set the tone for the relationship, creating a positive feedback loop where both partners are encouraged to show up in the best way possible.